evenings coming back from school, one of my mates, his grandparents lived in Prospect Road, and he'd say, "Oh, let's go pop in to see whatever his granddad was called," and I'd go with him. And going in, it was a different world. First and foremost, it was all gas lighting, and there was two little lamps either side of the mantelpiece with gas light, and also how small it was, and there was like a little coal stove there. And the thing I always remember as well was treacle tins on the mantelpiece, a row of them, and I knew what that was. And this was when they got their pay, having got the last market of the week on a Saturday over there, and they got paid, then they'd hand over their money to Mrs. and she'd put so much for the rent, so much for the gas, so much for food, and so much for who knows what in these tins.
We also used to spend a lot of time, the Coffin House now was a cafe, and it was run by a Mr. Hunt, and he always looked a miserable man, but he must have been very patient, because he used to let us sit there all night over one Coke, and we all used to meet there, and then all of a sudden there were a load of boys and girls, not necessarily connected romantically, but we just were all friends together, and one of the boys would say, "Come on, let's get the cars and we'll go out Berryhead." All used to go out Berryhead in these cars, all pile in, and they park in a square and turn all the lights on and just have an impromptu party there. All very innocent, but great fun.
When I turned up in Brixham in '69 in a battered old van with 6 paintings, if I didn't sell one within a week, I was going back to catering. But look at me now, nearly 50 years later, several thousand pictures under my belt. I spent 35 years sat by that statue or on that slipway in front of the crowd, entertaining as well as painting. Entertaining, I mean, is that I would paint a picture and walk back across the other side of the road and say to the crowd, "Please move aside so that I can see it," and I'd walk back to the picture and turn it that way up because I had painted the last 5 minutes upside down.
Brixham, a wonderful place to be brought up, basically. My family all around the harbour, literally all of my family around the harbour. No play area on this side of Brixham. Berryhead Park, as they call it nowadays, was just that bit too far to walk from here. Although we used to cycle out there later days on ASP bikes. We didn't have BSA down here, we had ASP. They were known as ASP because they were all spare parts, generally stolen from the rubbish tip, which was on Sharpen Point. Our main play area, therefore, focused on the harbour. So from a young lad, I had a little tiny rowing boat. I used to go around the harbour prawning to make a living, a few pounds, sell the prawns to Mrs. Vigin on the quay.
I signed up for the place in '81, and then Courage decided, it was just going through, and Courage decided that they wanted to put it to auction. So I had to legally withdraw and then start all over again at the public auction, which was held at the North Cliff, just the other side of the harbour there. And I went down and bid for it with everybody else.
Yeah, my first date, it was a friend of mine. She said, do you fancy going out with Keith Barry because he's home from the Merchant Navy, he's got nobody to go out with. I said, "Oh, I can't go out with him." I said, "He's friends with my brother." She said, "Oh, for God's sake," she said, "I'm only asking you to make up a foursome. I'm not asking you to marry him." And that was Valentine's Day. I can't remember, it must have been about 65, I would think. yeah, we've been together ever since.
Have you been married since you were here, or
Yes. Twice, I think, since I've been here.
So how many times in total?
A lot of times. Don't be bloody nosy. But, yeah, I married an Ian Alexandra. And who was the next? Oh, and Harvey. And Harvey's the one that's got his name over the front door, because I didn't think I'd get the licence because I'd been to jail a few times in Liverpool. And they said I wouldn't get a licence given to me, so...
What were you in jail for?
Non-payment of fines, that's another one, don't be nosy.
The other thing I remember out there, after a big easterly gale, down on the beach, I found a great long oar, massive, you know, mostly come off like a big boat, quite a big boat. And so I had this oar, and I carried it up over, and when I got up the top, where you walked like from along the back of the beach at the top, by Homely Camp now, where all the, then it was all like blackthorn bushes. Suddenly facing me was the Coast Guard. Hello, my son, what you got there, man? I said, oh, you know, being a bit naive, I said, oh, I've got this on the beach. He said, that's mine, you've got to leave it with me. And I thought, no, bloody likely. So with that, I sort of ran a few steps, got hold of it, and I chucked it over into the blackthorn bushes. I thought, he ain't going to get it either.
I grew up, really, I was one of the youngest members of the yacht club, 1962, partly because I was built like a whippet in those days and used to crew for a lot of the racing yachts, which were all classics because there was no plastic, well, just about, but no plastic in those days. From there, I slowly got a yacht of my own, did a massive amount of sailing in different places, always ventured off somewhere, learned to navigate better and better. I learned quite a lot also from Mr. Wagland, who was the headmaster at the school I went to in Brixham, as he was a Royal Naval navigator in any case, or an officer. And I always got home. After all, I'm still here, which is a good sign. During my time, I skippered all sorts of things, all different places, and I always got us in. Never called the lifeboat out. 45 years of skipping on all sorts of things. Never, ever, I'll stay in touch with you, yeah, fingers crossed.
Back in the 70s, they filmed Wurzel Gummidge in Brixham, which was really, really exciting because we loved Wurzel Gummidge. And I remember as a youngster, I went up and asked for an autograph, but he said, my hands are made of straw, and just gave me a piece of straw. And to be honest, I was a really bit disappointed with that.
Oh yes, yeah, Prince Harry called in. That was nice. But there's been lots of lovely people coming now. Timothy Spall came in. The Bachelors have been in. They used to come in on Sundays when they weren't working or doing things. Yeah, they used to come in. They had a place up Berryhead Road, and they'd come in. And when we put the records on, and the Bachelors was on there, and somebody pressed the Bachelors record, they used to say, play that one again, Pat. We need the royalties.
And I suppose 1988 was the best year. William of Orange, outside the statue. His great-great-great-grandson, Alexander William, who is now the king, came and reenacted the 300 years celebration. 2 days before the Prince came, they moved the statue to clean it. And lo and behold, a photographer came along and told me, if you stand up there, Bill, you can take his place. Well, I did take his place, and everything went well. And they had an umpire band up on the green, and I went up there, invited, with a picture under my arm, and I presented it to the 18-year-old Prince. He just said, hello. I don't know if he knew any English then, and that was it. But since then, I've painted, retired, but an artist doesn't retire. I'm still dabbling home in the house, and I come down here occasionally and to represent the family like I'm doing today.